Hi, this is room 112. It's day 24. Our sons are out. We're here. We're going to continue to be here, and everything's okay. It's a beautiful, beautiful spring day, not a cloud in the sky. A few cars in the background here. You might hear a few birds or sirens. But just wanted to let you know that we're here. Miss Diane, Mr. Christian, Mr. Wilson, myself. We're thinking about you. You're in our thoughts. And we'll see you again soon, and everything's okay. Well, let's go inside. It's a little breezy. And let's see what our lesson's going to be about today. As I tape this, the mail has already come. So I'm going to check out the mail. Oh, hang on. Oh, let me see. It's a letter from Rachel's brother Gus. And that's ironic because our lesson today is about her brother Gus. Her brother lives in Chicago. And if you see here, that's his shirt, Ironworkers Build America. And one of the presents that I got one time was some of his ironwork. Spud wrench, and 2 spud wrenches there, or the dangly things I like to call them. But the technical term is a spud wrench. And this is really today, our Room 112 video is about ironworkers. And ironworkers started in the 1890s. And before then, all the buildings were built out of wood or stone. But by 1890s, that had been kind of replaced it. And they started using iron and steel. Ironworkers have built every major project in the United States. They made the Golden Gate Bridge, the Sears Tower, the St. Louis Arch, the World Trade Center, and now the Freedom Tower. They make stadiums, hospitals. They help on wind turbines. They make them. They also help with the buildings. They make bridges. The first ironworkers, this is his union shirt, the first ironworkers union started in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And when you talk about ironworkers, you're really talking about 3 or 4 different kind of workers. There's structural steel. There's an ornamental or a finisher. There are the people who do stairways, catwalks, gratings. They also do gates and the elevator front. And they usually work and use arc welders. So that's it. But Gus, what he does is he works with a spud wrench. And he also carries with him the bolt bag. He keeps other things like that helps him do like a bar that helps puts the beams in place. His most important tool, like I said, though, is the spud wrench. And this spud wrench does 2 things. First of all, let me get my finger out of the way. The one part right there tightens the bolts. And down here, the tapered finish, that is the part that puts the beams, align the holes in the beams together. They put that in there and it lines the holes there. He uses bolts, and he uses a hammer to kind of put the beams in place sometimes. So that's it. They give strength to the outside of buildings. They give like the frame. It gives strength to concrete. And it's used in slabs or in bridges. Now, what Gus would have to do in his work is he had to load and unload all the iron, all the working, all the beams. They put them into place. They fasten, they align them. And every person on a construction project has to be certified to be the welder on any given projects. So like how we take tests, he has to take a test like every couple years or every year to get certified to be a welder. And they give him a hands-on test, and he has to perform certain kind of welding. So that's kind of a neat thing. They started in 1885 as steel replaced, like I said, the wood and the stone. And they used to be called, or they still are called, the cowboys in the skies. They're the cowboys in the sky. So that's kind of a neat thing about the ironworkers. As I'm looking over here, Gus started to be an iron worker. He's been an iron worker for 27 years. And the tallest building he's ever been in is 46 stories tall. And like I said, the ironworkers give it the skeleton, just like your bones. The ironworkers are the skeleton, construct the skeleton of a building. You go to school for 3 years, a trade school for 3 years. And now they kind of rushed him when he did it, but now it takes 4 years to become a certified ironworker. Let's see, what they also talk about how they use certain equipments. He belongs to Local 1 in Chicago. And there's also a Local 63 who are ornamental, and they do, like I said, the railings and the stairs. There's usually about 5 people to a crew. There's a connection, the connecting guys, and then a crane operator. And one of the skills, and our class would love this, one of the skills that you need to have to be an ironworker is good at measurement and math. Lots of math and lots of measurements. You have to be very accurate with the measurements within a 16th of an inch. And you also have to be able to read blueprints, because if you put it in the wrong place, then you have to take it down, and that costs a lot of money. So you have to really be able to read a blueprint. Everybody talks about going to college and everything, but there's a lot of skills of going to trade schools. My son went to a trade school. Gus works to a trade school. Rachel's brother-in-law went to a trade school. They make a nice salary, a nice living. He's enjoyed it. He went and changed it for the world. You still go to school because you have to be certified for your welding and for being able to do measurements and reading blueprints. You learn all those skills. It's a neat history of America, of being an iron worker. And you have to be able to keep your balance, be able to climb tall buildings. You can't be afraid of heights, but you're using your beater, your spud wrench, you're carrying a bolt bag. You also have the sleeve bar, bull pins, draft pins. So you have a whole bunch of equipment that you carry with you, like on your hips or in a bag. So it's quite heavy. You got to be able to do that. The hardest part is the when you're welding, you might get the specks on your little pieces of on your arms, and you get burnt a little bit. So you have to have the safety equipment and be properly outfitted. You're working in the winter, not when there's snow, not when there's a lot of rain, but you're working when it's hot. So that's one of the other things that you have to be aware of. But anytime we see a stadium, a hospital now, a tower, like if you go by and see a wind turbine or any of those tall buildings, a bridge, go underneath a bridge, you really have to thank the ironworkers. So that was just one of our little things that we're giving a shout out to the Cowboys in the Sky, and to Rachel's brother Gus. We just want to say thank you, and just a neat occupation and a valuable service that they provide for us. Our sons are still here. I have not opened the door for Mr. Turtle yet, so I'm going to open it up for him so he can get. Oh, there he is. He's basking. He wanted to probably give a shout out to Gus also, and to the ironworkers while he's basking, saying, hey, thank you. Thank you. In the meantime, our sons are here. We're here. We're going to continue to be here, and everything's okay. Homework. What kind of trade would you be interested in? When we're talking trades, we're talking plumbers, electrician, carpenters, ironworkers, operators on oil platforms like my son. All those kind of trades that we do every day. Truckers. I know we have a couple parents of a couple students in my class. Their parents are truck drivers. That's a trade, a valuable resource, and we're going to be doing a special unit on them too. So there's a lot of trades, valuable resources that you need to have in our community. For instance, we wouldn't have any buildings or any of those things without the ironworkers, because they, like we said, they do the skeleton of a building. I hope you learned a little bit about ironworkers and about the spud wrench, the most valuable tool that an ironworker could have next to his welding equipment. And when you're doing all this math in class, you're like, why am I ever going to use this math? And the skills like that we learned in the Ironworker is that you're going to need to know measurement. As we go back here for a second, you're going to need to know measurement. You're going to need to know able to read a blueprint. All those kind of skills. So to the Ironworkers, Local Union 1 in Chicago, Local 67, the Ornamental Ironworkers, we just wanted to say thank you. We appreciate you, and we hope that you have a good day. All right, thanks. Bye.